Hello everyone. Let's solve the consecutive subsequence problem on Codeforces. So let me summarize this problem for you guys. So main problem explanation is we have to find the largest consecutive subsequence in an array. So the subsequence is formed by consecutive integers. Again, I'm telling you, we have to find the longest consecutive subsequence in the array. So a subsequence is formed by consecutive integers where each element in the sequence appears exactly once. So this is the main thing. So each element in the sequence has to appear exactly once. So what we have to return? We are asked to return both the length of this subsequence and the one based indices of its elements. So this is what the question says. Consecutive subsequence we have to find. So what we can do is, the main goal is to find the longest subsequence of the consecutive integers in an array. So, and also we have to track their position as well, right? So here, mainly we are asked to return both the length of the subsequence as well as one based indices of its elements, its indices as well. So our main goal is to find the longest subsequence of consecutive integers in the array and track their positions. So in this case, we'll be making use of dynamic programming and also the hash map. Why we are making use of the hash map? Because to store the length of the subsequences ending with each number. So by iterating through the array, next after storing the length of the subsequences ending with the each number in the hash map, we will be iterating through the array, then so that we can update the length of the subsequences and keep track of the maximum length and its last number. So after doing this, once we know the length and the last number, now we'll be knowing the length and the last number, right? We will reconstruct the subsequence by walking backwards through the array. So that's what we will be doing. So we'll be doing step by step. First, we'll be making use of the JavaScript or the Node.js. So first, we'll go with the input handling. Second, we'll go with the dynamic programming array. Nothing but we'll be making use of dynamic programming along with the hash map. Nothing but dynamic programming array. Third step is we will find the longest consecutive subsequence. And fourth step, reconstructing the subsequence. That is the main thing. And finally, we'll be displaying the results. Nothing but output. We'll print the length of the longest subsequence. So let's write the code and try to understand. Right. So I'll just come here. So what I'll do, initially, I'll just give, process. Next, we give, just give set encoding of UTF-8. So here what we are doing here is, so we are setting up the program to receive the input from the terminal. So this one, these two lines, we are setting up the program to receive the input from the terminal asynchronously. This resume, this one, what it does is, it allows the process to receive the data and set encoding. Nothing but this one, second line, set encoding of UTF-8, what we have written. This ensures that the input is in UTF-8 format, right? So the next step is, I'll just initialize the input to empty string. Let me give empty string here. Also, let me initialize the line to 0 initial. So what we are doing here, we are making use of the input variable which will store the entire input data as a string, right? Next line, basically this one, the variable line, what this is doing, this is used to track the current line being processed from the input. I hope this is clear till now. Nothing but we are handling the input initially, right? So next I'll give process standard input. So just give on. Let me give data here. Same steps. if you have followed the last problem. So here, yeah, I'll just call the data. I'll just give input equals input plus data. Nothing but what we are doing here, basically this event listener is triggered whenever the input is provided. Here, this one. Whenever the event listener is triggered, event listener is triggered whenever input is provided. So the data chunk is appended to the input string here, this one. This chunk is appended to the input string. Nothing but here input is input plus data we have given, right? So next step, I'll copy the same thing and make the necessary changes. Let me paste it over here. Instead of on, let me give stand input dot, this has to be on itself. Instead of data, just change this one to end. I'll remove this one. So here, input has to be dot trim. Let me make use of the let. We need the output and individual lines or the different lines, right? So I'll be making use of the slash n. Let me give map. We consider trim. Let's trim the white spaces again by making use of str.trim. So in simple terms, what we are doing here, so when the input ends, mainly this input, I and POT, this is process. So we are trimming the white spaces around the input by making use of trim here, this one. And also we are splitting the input by lines. So each line becomes element in an array. Nothing but here, you can clearly see, right? This one, input, split of slash. And we are also trimming the each line further to remove the unnecessary spaces. This trim, this time. First one was for this one. Here again, we are making use of the trim to remove the unnecessary spaces. Next, finally, we will call the main function to solve the problem. So I have not written the main function yet. I'll call the function once I write the main function. So here, I'll just give function read. So return input. Just give here. So what we are doing here, we are making use of the read. Nothing but it returns the current line of input and increments the line variable for the next call. It increments here. This one you can clearly see here, line plus plus. It increments the line variable for the next call. Basically, this allows us to process each line one by one. That is why we are using this. So next, what we'll do, now we will write the main logic. Nothing but this one, function. Let me give main. So first what we will do, just give me a second. First, I just initialize n plus read function, this one. So first what we are doing here, the first line contains the number of elements n in the array. First line, it will contain the number of elements n in the array. We convert this string input to the number using the plus operator. So here you can clearly see plus read I have written, right? So this one. So we'll convert again I'm telling, we convert the string input to the number using this plus operator. Next, second line contains the space separated integers of the array. How we can write that? I'll just initialize let equals, let me give read split. Let me leave the space. Also, let me make use of map of number. So This is fine. What we're doing here, the second line contains the space separated integers of the array. Next, we split the line by spaces, and also we are converting each part into the number using map of number, nothing but this one, map of number. So I hope this is clear. Next, what we will do, we will create an empty object dp. Nothing. Why we are creating the empty object dp? Because we want to store the length of the longest subsequence ending with the specific number. So I'll just make use of let dp equals by creating the empty object in simple. So let's initialize the max length to store the maximum length of the subsequence, and also the last num to track the last number in the subsequences. We are making use of the last num and max length. Max length to store the maximum length of the subsequence, and also the last num to track the last number in that subsequence. I can just write let max length equals 0. Also let last num, also I'm initializing this one to 0. Next, let's now we will loop through each number x in the array. This is simple, right? For let x of array, what we will do, for each number x, we will check if x minus 1 exists in dp. Also, if it exists, we will extend the subsequence ending at x minus 1 by adding x to it. If not, if it does not exist, we will start a new subsequence with x. So dp of x will be 1. This one, I can just simply write this one. dp of x equals dp of x minus 1. Just give me a second. Yeah, we can write in this way, right? Or 0 plus 1. Let me give plus 1 here. Next step, if the current subsequence is the longest, means we have if we have got the longest subsequence that we have seen, then we will update the max length and also the last number. So this is simple. For that, I'll just make use of this one, if condition, right? I'll just give if dp of x is greater than max length, then what we are doing, max length dp of x last num equals x as well. So this is one thing. So next what we will do here, we will create an array result of size max length. Why we are creating the array result of size max length? Because we want to store the indices of the longest subsequence. We have to display that one in the result, right? So for that purpose, I'll just give let result equals, I'll just give new array of max length. This is simple. Next, let's start placing the elements into the result array from the last index. From the last index, we are placing the elements into the result. So how can we write this one? I'll just give index. I'll just take this one as idx equals, from the last index we are placing, right? So I can just give max length minus 1. So this is simple. Next, let's iterate through the array backwards, from the backwards, because we have took the last index, right? Max length minus 1 in the previous step. So we are, what we'll do, we'll iterate through the array backwards to find the elements of the subsequence. How can we write that? I'll just make use of the for loop. For let I equals n minus 1, I greater than or equal to 0, and decrement from the, we are iterating from the backwards, right? So finally we are decrementing. Then if the current number is equal to the last number, it is part of the subsequence, right? This is the first one. Else, in that case, so if the current number is equal to the last number, it is part of the subsequence. Then we will store the 1 based index, nothing but I plus 1 in the result array, and decrement the index, nothing but idx we have to write here. Idx to fill the previous position. Also, we will move the next number in the subsequence by decrementing the last number. These two things we will be doing. So how can we do that? I'll just consider if array of I, if it is equal to last number, then simply I can just give a result of decrementing the idx, nothing but this will be equals I plus 1. Also, last number will decrement this one as well, right? So this is simple. Next, finally what we need the output. Just give me a second. Whether we need to we can output the indices of the elements in the subsequence as space separated string. So as we are outputting the indices of the elements in the subsequence as a space separated string, we'll be making use of the join and will leave the space, right? This I'll just make use of the console log here, and let me give a result or join. Let me consider this one. So here, let me leave the space. So this is a type. Hope this works. This has to work. Just give me a second. Copy this one here. Let me copy this and paste it again. Okay. Let me consider this first one input. Let me paste it over here. So if I run this one, program did not output anything. Let's see what is. So here what I have done is I said I'll call the main function later after writing the main function, but I forgot here to call the main function here, right? So I'll just call the main function here. And also here, I forgot to give this one max length. Sorry, it has to be max length, right? So we have to output the length of the longest subsequence as well. Also, we need to output the indices of the elements in the subsequences as a separate, as a space separated string. First, we are giving the longest. First we are outputting the length of longest subsequence. Next, we are outputting the indices of the elements in the subsequence as a space separated string. These two things we have to do, right? So I forgot this line basically. So mainly these two things we have to do. So let me run this one again. So now we are getting the proper output, right? So 2, 1, 4 for this one. So I'll just take this one, this input, the last input. Let's check this one. So 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. So here this is 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Let me check for one more time. So this one 4, 10, 9, 8, 7. This has to give the output 1 and 1, right? So let's check this one. Let me hit the run. So yeah, this is working correctly. So let me copy this one. Let me come here. Let you submit code. So yeah, this is the problem F, right? So let me check this one. One is. So yeah, this is F, right? So I'll just come here. Let me paste the code. Let me hit the submit. Let's wait for some time. So yeah, this got accepted, right? So the code works absolutely correct. So this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.